UFC 299 O'Malley versus Vera 2 just took place, and I'm going to go through the entire card, starting with the early prelims, ending with the main event, giving my reaction and breakdown to every single fight on the card, and my overall event recap as well. Let's start straight away with the early prelim opener of Joanne versus Maryna Moroz. Both got takedowns, but Joanne just outworked her and stayed busy in the clinch at range as well, landing the better shots throughout the fight. And Maryna Moroz just couldn't implement her takedowns the way I thought she was going to be able to. We move on. Anyway, Vergara versus Assu Almabayev. Assu Almabayev wins a decision. He gets his takedowns. Vergara actually did better than I thought he would do. I was expecting him to get finished here because of how easy Tatsuro Taira made him look on the ground. But maybe this fight really does raise the stock of Tatsuro Taira, because Assu Almabayev could get down Vergara. He just couldn't finish him from there because Vergara kept working his way back up. He even landed a couple of pretty dangerous shots on Almabayev on the feet as well. But overall, it was the takedowns of Almabayev that dominated this fight for him and got himself the decision. Vergara back to the drawing board, probably to be cut from the UFC, I'll be honest with you guys as well. Assu Almabayev gets the decision win and moves on up the card, making Tatsuro Taira's win look pretty impressive to get a finish. We move on up the card. Robelis Despaigne versus Josh Parisian. I went with Robelis Despaigne by round 1 TKO. He got the job done by round 1 TKO. Now, it's hard to know how much credit to assign Robelis here, because although he's very impressive and he's 6'7" and he's got an 87-inch reach and all of these crazy stats that you can bring up about him, Josh Parisian's a fat nobody, like NPC. Which I know what you're going to say. Guru, what are you talking about? That's every heavyweight outside of top 5. And I know, but we just saw this with Jailton Almeida, who we'll get to in a second, which I'm so happy about. But there comes a time where just being an athlete don't work for you at heavyweight anymore. I know Robelis does have a background in Taekwondo, but I thought he looked a little sloppy in the early exchanges, slipped off balance, then rolled backwards and caught Parisian coming in with a counter hook. It was like if Rosenstruik would have caught Ngannou, except if Ngannou was a fat, melting human that looks like he's never touched a weight in his life. No muscle definition, morbidly obese. The fuck did you think was going to happen? You charged forward with your eyes literally closed, chin up in the air, swinging like Juliana Pena against Nunes in a rematch. I can't understand how these people are actually training to do this as a job, and people say they deserve more pay. Parisian closed his eyes, threw his chin up in the air, and swung 1-2s one after the other. It's hard to give credit to Robelis when this is how bad UFC caliber heavyweights are. Sorry. Great win from Robelis though. Got his TKO win, got a performance bonus, and said to follow him on Instagram afterwards, which I don't know why more fighters don't do. Seems like a smart thing to do, no? So that was good from him, and hopefully we can keep him active. UFC 301 in Brazil. Keep this guy active. He's old as hell, like every Cuban person is, it seems. They only get out of Cuba at 34 or some stuff like that. So give Robelis a jump up or give him another unranked fat heavyweight. Just keep him active is what I want to see. We move on. Michel Pereira versus Michal Oleksiejczuk. I went with Michal over Michel. And I was wrong. Michel Pereira gets this one done. Submission in the first round, but not a submission. It was a submission, but it was arguably on its way to being a body damage related TKO. But what Michel Pereira realized, I guess, is when Michal Oleksiejczuk went down to the body shot, his hands went to cover his body. So Michel was like, oh, he ain't going to defend a rear naked choke right now if he's all scrunched up like that. Locks up the rear naked choke on Michal Oleksiejczuk. Amazing performance by Michel Pereira. Body kicks, lightning speed. Middleweight is the drop-off of talent in the UFC. And it keeps getting proven. And I should have believed in it, but I was like, dude, Michal's actually a light heavyweight, though. Moving down to middleweight again. He's tried it before. But I think he could survive Pereira. That was literally my take. If he survives Pereira, Pereira's going to get lost in the sauce because of the crowd. And he was doing dance moves on the way out to the ring anyway, or to the cage anyway. He was doing dance moves. So I was like, if Oleksiejczuk survives him, he'll probably break him in the later rounds because Fialho went 3 rounds with Pereira on short notice, didn't get finished. Nico Price basically nearly 10-8'd Pereira in round 3, but didn't get it scored that way, so they went with Pereira by decision. Pereira couldn't finish Diego Sanchez early with the same kicks to the body. Like, I really thought that, like, Michel was better than those guys in terms of toughness, but maybe he is. But I think Pereira's just a different fucking level at middleweight. That's all I'm going to say. He's a different level at middleweight. Without draining himself to 170, he's a big middleweight as well. 6'1", jacked, thick dude for the division. Powerful, fast. Time will tell how good his cardio is. But, dude, I can see him just, like, smoking Brendan Allen. Like, some of these basic-ass middleweights. I can see him just stinging them with, like, vicious shots. So, I'd love to see him get a chance way up the rankings at UFC 301. We'll see. We move on. Up the card, Jan Cutelaba versus Philipe Lins. I root for him every time, but it's getting very difficult to be an Jan Cutelaba fan. Cutelaba was the first fighter ever to post about my channel. He made my first ever viral video by putting me on his Instagram and shouting me out. But he's dumb. He's dumb. He's a dumb guy. Like, he doesn't do the right thing to win ever. You know, like, I'm just thinking, like, dude, you need to be leg kicking with Lins here. You can't just let him keep leg kicking you. I know the commentary was just talking about that low kick all night long. I can already hear it in my head. I wasn't even listening, but I know that's what they were waffling about the entire fight long. Man, Cutelaba just didn't do enough, dude. I was praying for a robbery win because Lins is boring and personality-less, and it's all good, though. I thought Cutelaba would shoot more than a takedown that fight, man. You got to be first. If you're both bad, be first. That's my take. Shoot first to take down. Low kick first. Stop waiting for Lins on everything and swinging these power shots on the feet. They were working at times. Lins did look like he was slowing down and maybe was on his way to really gassing out and losing, but Cutelaba just didn't make the right decisions. Even at the end of round 3, I'm like, okay, dude, you got a wife and kids. You got this. You got that. This is your whole career on the line. Where is it? Where's the crazy moment in round 3 that JDM would go for against Burns? We'll talk about that in a second. And it just never came. And Cutelaba let the fight slip away from him. Never shot takedowns. Never kicked. Just threw punches after tracking down Lins, and it just didn't work for 3 rounds. So he never changed anything. I like Cutelaba. Still a Cutelaba fan. Still rooting for him every single fight. But he's fumbled it again. We move on to the prelims. Pedro Munhoz versus Phillips. I was salty as fuck about this fight. Not because I was wrong, although that is a part of it and we know that is. But Munhoz performed like trash. However, I'm not going to just sit here and ignore the fact that Phillips, I poked Munhoz 3 times in round 1. And they looked intentional. It wasn't like a grazing eye poke. He stretched his fingers out into the eyes of Pedro Munhoz. 3 times in round 1. 2 of them got called. 1 of them didn't. He cut open Munhoz's eye with a finger. As far as I'm aware. I don't know what shot did that, but after he poked him in the eye, that's when Munhoz was bleeding from the fucking eyelid. So that annoyed me so much because I'm like, dude, this guy just gets 3 fouls at the start. 3 eye pokes. All right, time to start striking. He looked great. Phillips, great striking, great technique, good cardio as well because he was wheel kicking like 5 times around. Kept it good, kept it limited, and beat up on Pedro Munhoz for 3 rounds. It annoys the fuck out of me though that Munhoz just don't get no benefit from being eye poked 3 times over and Phillips just literally gets a breather. I hate that and there should be points taken away. But Phillips fought a one-eyed Munhoz and beat him up to a decision. So good job, Phillips. He's also popped for PEDs before. No tainted supplement, just PEDs. So whatever you want to think about him. Great performance from him though. Amazing striking technique. Wildness on the feet. Dynamic in the striking. Wicked win. Munhoz was just throwing single shots. He needed combinations. I was screaming at him. Throw combinations. Throw some hitters. Shoot a takedown. Wouldn't shoot takedowns when they were beneficial to him. Would save it till the end of the round, which does nothing anymore. Don't know why they haven't read the scoring system yet. Wouldn't shoot takedowns when he needed them. Wasn't throwing in combination. Munhoz, awful performance. But Phillips did good, moved well, kept up his pace, and was dynamic as fuck on the feet. So you got to give him credit. Him versus Umar would be a sick fight in my opinion. We move on. Mateus Gamrot versus Rafael Dos Anjos. I went with Mateus Gamrot by decision, boring. I said RDA would win a round and it would be 29-28 Gamrot. One judge might give a 30-27. And it went basically exactly like that, except no judge should have given a 30-27. RDA literally dropped Gamrot in round 1. How can you give that round to Gamrot? I don't care if he got a takedown at the end and landed some strikes. He did not do the equivalent of getting wobbled by RDA and then getting dropped. It wasn't just that he got caught off balance. He got wobbled badly with a knee in round 1. First of all, Gamrot's striking is not as bad as I thought it was. He's open on the feet, but he's aware when he's in danger, which I think is nice. And he's aware when he's in the pocket and he's not. And that's a good sign. Good distance control. His teeps were good. His straight punches were pretty good. His hooks are so slow and he's open every time he does it. So that is worrying. But he has the takedown threat, so everyone has to worry about that. He got 11 of 19 takedowns. Worked RDA in the second and third on the feet and on the ground. And RDA dropped him in round 1. So basically, let's talk about this knockdown. Gamrot shoots in on RDA and literally shoots into a knee to the face. Bad knee to the face. Wobbles him and he's stunned and he starts backing up like he can't even see, which I wouldn't be surprised if he couldn't because it literally hit him right in his eye. And then after trying to recover and RDA flips him with like a whizzer to defend the takedown, Gamrot gets dropped badly by a left hook from RDA. So I thought, wow, bad start for Gamrot. But he hustles, he bounces back, and he Gamrots his way to a win. It's never going to be fun. We've come to terms with that with Gamrot. But one thing we can appreciate is the level of skill that goes into his wrestling and his chain takedowns. But wasn't entertaining, was pretty boring. He's not going to get a title shot. I don't know what he's going to get. Arguably Poirier, but they train together. Not Poirier. I don't know what he's going to get. Probably the loser of Oliveira to Sarukian or something like that. We move on. Caitlin Chookagian, which wasn't her name during the fight, versus Maycee Barber. Maycee Barber wins by decision. I agree with this decision. I agree with it very much so. She got the takedowns. She landed the better shots. She was more nasty in the clinch, which I thought was a big factor here. She was throwing elbows and forearm attacks in the clinch and knees to the body in the clinch. Chookagian was landing as well, and don't get me wrong, Chookagian had her moments where I was like, oh no, this could start going bad for Maycee Barber. She might have gone too hard early, and now she's going to start slowing down, but she bounced back. She got her takedowns that she needed to secure the rounds that she did, and she just looked more lethal on the feet. Chookagian was throwing shots that was like hesitant, and she didn't really want to throw them. Maycee Barber was swinging heat into her shots. But outside of the performance of it, where Maycee Barber did do well and get her takedowns, and she kept hitting a twist on Caitlin Chookagian with hip control, got in tight on the hips, tied up the legs of Chookagian and just span with her to the right, to the free side of the octagon, and started getting takedowns that way. I don't know the technical name of it. I'm not DC, but I'm sure he would know. Maycee Barber's got fat fucking cheeks on her. I don't know where they came from. They're not fat cheeks, but they're good to look at. Some thickness during the fight was actually pretty enjoyable to watch, you know? I don't know why that's a part of my recap video, but we see you, Maycee Barber. Don't think all those squats are going unnoticed. You know what I'm saying? Next time you're hitting those squats, no, we see it. We see the benefit. We see the progress. And keep it up. Let's see how far we can go. She wants to move up to bantamweight. Maybe we'll be looking at another Norma Jamont in a second. Who knows? Great win from Maycee Barber. Great thickness. We move on. Curtis Blaydes versus Jailton Almeida. One of the happiest moments of my entire life of watching the UFC as long as I have, and watching MMA, and watching combat sports in general. This absolute sport ruiner gets fucking destroyed by Curtis Blaydes. And you know what? He didn't even get destroyed. Barely anything happened, and he fucking curled up in a ball and gave up. Bitch. Fuck Jailton Almeida, dude. Cut him. Cut him from the UFC, but let's talk about what happened first before I start saying to cut him from the UFC. Almeida goes out there and does what he does. Couple stand-up shots, shoots the takedown, and gets it on Blaydes. But Blaydes, I don't think he was trying to get back up all the time. I think he was just trying to say, you know what, I'll have my moment where I scramble and sprawl well. And he did sprawl well immediately. But the second I end up on top or in a position where I can damage this dude, I'm going to go all out. And that's what Blaydes was waiting for. Almeida literally fucking hugged him for an entire round. Body lock, dragging Blaydes around, one hook in on the back, drag him down again, body lock, hold on, drag him down, body lock, wait there, knee to thigh, foot stomp, drag him down. He's literally a sport ruiner. He's not a warrior. He's a destroyer of sports. He's an anti-MMA fan. He's anti-fight fan. Curtis Blaydes found his moment, defended the single leg, barely, It was just that Almeida didn't complete the single leg. He just went for it and then laid there, thinking he could stall a fight in that position on a single leg. And Blaydes fucking rained down hammer fists to the side of his head behind the ear, legal shots. And after about 5 of them, instead of Almeida going, fuck, I should try and really get this takedown, or fuck, I should give up this takedown and go to the clinch, or I should separate and get back to on the feet. Instead of that, he just curled up in a ball and stayed there until he got TKO'd. Good. I'm glad. Curtis Blaydes is my new fucking favorite fighter. Dana White, give him $1 million. I'm being fucking serious right now. Give Curtis Blaydes $1 million fucking dollars, because he fucking deserves it. You have no fucking clue. I know you don't fucking understand this because you just want champions from different fucking countries, and we're onto you, okay, because you want different markets. I don't know why you're even fucking pushing Jailton Almeida. Years ago, you'd be fucking slandering him for his fucking fight style. Stop fucking pushing him up the fucking top of the sport and giving him main events like you did against fucking... Like, there's certain fighters where it's just like, what do they need to do to piss Dana off? Some of them just get leeway. And Almeida was one of them. And I'm telling you, give Curtis Blaydes $1 million fucking dollars. He just saved the fucking heavyweight division single fucking handedly from that fucking sport ruining lab experiment freak Argonian looking creep. But good performance from Curtis Blaydes. Good win. Called out Tom Aspinall. That's got to be next. And Jailton Almeida, again, cut him from the sport. Get rid of him. Get him out of the UFC. He's lost. We've proven he's not top level in the UFC by using Curtis Blaydes against him. Let PFL have him. I don't even care. In fact, him versus Ngannou might be an interesting matchup. I doubt it, though. But let PFL fucking have him. We don't want him here. End of discussion. Move on. Up the card. To the main card. Oh! My little Pookie Bear. Petr Yan versus Song Yadong. Our little Petr Yan. Our little manlet holding it the fuck down and standing his ground. I was picking Song Yadong. I went against my pick after doing research and finding out that Song Yadong's not as good as I thought he was or as powerful. 1 KO don't mean you've got KO power, little bro. Or 2, whatever it was. Petr Yan holds the fucking gates. And he don't hold the gates against some random Paddy Pimblett type contender on the rise that he should beat. He holds the gates in a tough matchup. Not just tough style-wise, because it arguably wasn't, but tough momentum-wise. Yadong is young, on the come-up. Yan is older and older. Still young himself, but on a 4-fight losing streak. Or 4 out of his last 5 he's lost because he won a Sandhagen fight in between the 2 Aljo ones. But he's on a losing streak. His career's hanging on by a thread. I honestly think they would have considered cutting him if he lost this one to Song Yadong because he would have been out the top 10 and it would have been 5 out of his last 6. I don't know how much longer they're going to keep him around for if he lost. And he holds the fucking gates, dude. What an absolute chad Petr Yan is. And I'm convinced of this. I saw Volk tweet this as well. Yan fucked up his foot at some point in round 1 or 2. You could see him stepping back on it whenever Song Yadong would push him backwards. And he would like fall off balance on his foot. So I think he broke his foot. On one of the kicks that he threw, or checking one of the kicks of Song Yadong, he hurt his foot or leg somehow. Because he started stumbling all over the place and losing his balance and being a bit weak in his stance. But he still won rounds 2 and 3. And how did he win it? He mixed in the takedowns. Round 1, Song Yadong was explosive. I thought Yan won round 1. I'm going to say that. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe Song did win based on the takedowns at the end. But I'm going to say I thought Yan landed the better, cleaner shots at range on the feet in round 1. If you want to say that what Yadong did at the end of round 1 secured him that round, maybe. But I did think that Yan was the cleaner shots in round 1. And Yadong was landing on his guard quite a bit. But round 2 and 3, regardless what you think of round 1, Yan secured the deal. Body shots were massive in this fight for him. They really slowed down Song Yadong. Both guys were landing low kicks on each other. Yan's jab was better than Song Yadong's. Not really many guys landed too many power punches on the feet against each other, but it was the body work of Yan. It was finishing combinations with his body kick, which I said he needed to do in the build-up in my prediction video. I said that's how he was going to win, finishing combinations with that body kick after throwing the 1-2. Catch and shoot on the counter. Dude, he was perfect. It's exactly how I designed him to beat Yadong, is how he beat Yadong. Fuck, dude, what a stupid name to say beat after, or after beat. Petr Yan, though, great win. Solid performance. He's fucking back! And he ain't going nowhere, man. Fuck downward spiral on the way out of his career like Tony Ferguson. He said fucking no. He took on the toughest challenge they could give him, and he beat his fucking ass. Very lucky to get those takedowns at the end of round 2 and 3. They fucking secured the deal for him. And Song Yudong's get-up ability ain't as good as we once thought it was. But one thing Song Yudong was doing good was faking takedowns on Yan, because Yan literally was like sprawling nothing from PTSD against Marab, I guess. But PTM wins. As soon as he got the takedown in round 3, I was cheering like, we did it. We finally did it. And Peter Yan gets the decision win over Song Yudong. Amazing work. We move on. Up the card, Gilbert Burns versus Jack Della Maddalena. I'm sick and tired of the disrespect of Jack Della Maddalena, dude. I'm sick of it. And I will not tolerate it anymore. It's starting to really annoy me how people are like, lucky knee, he was getting dominated. JDM wins again. Get over it, everyone. Why is everyone so angry about JDM merely winning fights? He called out Rakhmonov, and people, I know he's beaten fan favorites. But who's your fan favorite? JDM trying to fucking piece up Burns with combos, or Burns trying to fucking hold on to JDM for dear life? JDM had a good performance. Was getting here and there exposed in the grappling. I still think Sean Brady beats him. But one thing you have to say about Jack Della Maddalena, I'm looking at the stats now, I might be a bit bright on the screen. One thing you've got to know about Jack Della Maddalena is he's massively improving his takedown defense. It used to be more of a problem, you know, but he's working with Craig Jones. And since working with Craig Jones from the Hafez fight onwards, he's massively improved his scrambles from the little parts that we've seen of him. You know what I mean? The way he gets out of back taking, he needs to work on his separations from the grappling exchanges as a whole. He needs to work on his initial sprawl. But from getting out from on bottom, he's very good at it. And it's very Craig Jones-ish in why he's so good at that. It's not like Craig Jones has great entries on takedowns. It's not like he has great balance on takedown defense. He may do, but I don't think he's known for it. But what he does do is he finds weird ways of using his hips and using leverage and getting his hips higher than his opponent while he's on his back to swivel and find his way to his knees and end up on top position. And that's something that Craig Jones does a lot. And I think it's very weird that JDM's literally training from Craig Jones and learning the majority of his grappling from Craig Jones. And that's the style he employs. It's very Craig Jones-ish. And he used it to scramble out of Gilbert Burns' takedown in round 3. It looked like it was going to be rough for him. He nearly finished Burns at the start of round 3. I thought he won round 1. I don't care what anyone says. They landed the same amount of shots. I thought he could get round 2. I thought he could win that fight. A lot of people, MMA fans, pick and fucking choose when they count control time. And it fucking annoys me. Because none of these same fucking fans saying JDM was getting dominated were saying that Volk got dominated by fucking Makhachev in the early rounds. I just fucking stuck my finger in this fucking lid. Either way. I thought JDM could have been up. He was doing the better damage on the feet, landing the better shots. Burns had his back in round 2. I guess that's worth something. But the takedowns in round 1 led to nothing, and JDM landed the better shots. I'm not coping here. I think a lot of people just saw the takedown and went, it was close. It went to Burns. Like, stop taking away this guy's fucking decisions. They tried to do it with Basil Hafez, which he won clearly. They tried to do it with Kevin Holland, which he won clearly. And now they're trying to act like he was fucking, what a comeback. I know the judges scored it for Burns, but he was in that fight all the way through. Very slow early. Looked like he tried to be slow, so he didn't overthrow and give up his back or give up a silly takedown that he didn't want to. But then in round 3, he did what I begged Munhoz or Cutelaba would do. And he fought like he needed a finish in round 3. He scrambles out of the takedown. First of all, he wobbles Burns on the feet in round 3. I thought he wobbled Burns in round 1. Rewatch it. It looked like it was a left hook towards the midway to end of round 1, maybe the 3/4 mark of round 1. He catches Burns with a left hook, and Burns goes wobbly for a bit, which is why I gave him that round. Round 3, pieces up Burns on the feet. Burns don't land a strike on him, and JDM starting to really put it on him. Then, JDM gets his takedown, or Burns gets his takedown. Holds on to JDM for dear life, just holding on as long as he can. No strikes being thrown. It's a really frustrating grappling style to watch as Gilbert Burns. He did the same thing to Wonderboy. And JDM scrambled out of that takedown, kicked off the cage, rolled all the way over, flipped himself up, Burns got back up and boom, JDM pounced. He even landed a knee on Burns in round 1 to the face. I thought he won round 1, which was legal, barely. But round 3, knee straight to the face of Gilbert Burns, hurts him badly, and follows up with some of the nastiest elbows to the side behind the ear area we've seen. I think the fight should have been stopped 4 shots into the finishing sequence of JDM. It went on for like 20 more strikes. I have no idea why, but JDM wins. Amazing performance. Calls out Shavkat Rakhmonov. Badass call out. Let's make it happen. Maybe June in Saudi Arabia. We'll see how active they want to be. I know there's a lot of log jam, seeing as Edwards fights once a year, so maybe they'll end up doing this in August or July. I know they're going to Australia in August. If they can't get Volk on that card, I think that would be a great main event. Rakhmonov versus Della Maddalena. It's in Perth as well, so it makes all the sense in the world to get him on that card. In fact, everyone shut up. He's on the Perth card against Rakhmonov. End of. We move on. Kevin Holland versus Michael Venom Page. Wow. Michael Venom Page did Michael Venom Page, but in the UFC. I do think that anyone like Sean Brady's going to choke him out, though, because he did look very weak on the ground. Holland was able to chuck him down a bit, and Holland is not a grappler. So anyone like Brady or even a Burns, if they get him in those positions that Holland got him in, I reckon they will finish the job from there. But if you give this man strikers, I could see him getting to the top. If they plan this guy's title rise as like, here's Wonder Boy, and then here's Ian Gary coming off a loss to Leon Edwards, and then here's Leon Edwards, there's no denying MVP's got a legit shot at making a run for the belt. But will they give him a Sean Brady in the meantime? Will they give him a Gilbert Burns in the meantime? Will he get a Bilal Muhammad or a Rakhmonov in the meantime? These are the questions we have to ask. And I think that really comes down to how nice he's going to be to the UFC, how promotable he's going to be. If he becomes a star and he gets his social media booming, all of a sudden, they're going to give him all those strikers. And I think he sleeps Wonder Boy. There, I said it. I think Wonder Boy get low kicked the fuck out of and slept with the 1-2. I think his style is perfect to beat Wonder Boy. Either way. He beat Kevin Holland's ass. And you know what? Holland's stock dropped the lowest out of anyone on this card today. It did. It dropped the lowest out of everyone. Michael Venom Page pieced him up badly in round 1 with the 1-2 consistently. Was landing low kicks early. Not too many of them, as much as I would wanted him to. Landing body kicks as well on Kevin Holland. And just stinging him with shots and making you go ooh and ah quite often. Holland got the takedown in round 2 and didn't do much with it. But he had a rear naked choke attempt, so I gave him that round. But, you know, MVP still out-damaged him on the feet. And then round 3, MVP started chucking Holland around. In fact, I think he dropped Holland off balance in round 2, so you could still give him round 2 as well. Round 3, smacking Holland, hurting him bad. He hit this inverted Yair Rodriguez-style elbow on Holland. Dude, Holland might have the greatest chin of all time. I know you could say, MVP pillow-fisted. That elbow, I don't care how weak you are. That elbow lands the way he threw it. You should get KO'd. I have no idea how Holland did not get put to sleep in this fight. He's tough. He's durable. But I think he got humiliated here. I think this was a very humiliating experience for him. He was getting chucked around in the clinch. He was getting pushed over at one point in the 3rd round. He was a broken man. And he started doing this thing like trying to mock MVP back at the end of round 3. And it was kind of like, ugh. Kind of gave me the ick of Kevin Holland. Finally. Normally I'd be like, yay, Kevin Holland. You know, he's doing his thing. But recently with Kevin Holland, I've been like, yeah, whatever, man. You just don't want it. You know what I mean? You just don't want it. You'd rather not be finished than actually win. And it sometimes gets to that point with Holland where now I'm sort of like, yeah, whatever, man. You know, just go back, fight Nicholas Dalby or some shit and maybe lose. Like, I don't know. Holland's performances are just never the right thing that he does. He always chooses the path of most resistance. He did try and shoot takedowns, though. Credit to him. But MVP didn't let him have it. Good job, MVP. Amazing performance. Great win. I want to see him versus Wonderboy, man. I want to see him versus Wonderboy. And I think that would be an amazing matchup. I think it's easily marketable as like 2 of the best strikers of all time in MMA. And I think there's more than enough highlights in that fight with Holland to advertise that matchup as a fight night main event. Who knows what they're going to do with it. Maybe keep MVP on pay-per-view with Wonderboy. That would make some sense. I think he does bring a level of stardom to the game. So maybe on a pay-per-view. In the UK, MVP, Kevin Holland. They're going to Manchester. Aspinall Blaydes main event. Co-main event. Holland, Wonderboy, Arnold Allen, Yair Rodriguez. I mean, the options are endless. There's so much UK talent right now. We move on. You can even do Edwards Bilal Muhammad, but I reckon they'll do that as the main event of Saudi. Dustin Poirier versus Benoit Saint-Denis. I was thinking about making an individual video on this one, but I didn't really have much to talk about because it was a very short fight. If it was a 5-rounder, I could make a whole video on this, but it ended in a second, which I said it would. I did say Benoit would choke him out with a rear naked, but I was close. I didn't say Benoit was going to like destroy him on the feet and then TKO him, you know what I mean? I said he was going to get him down, get his back, and choke him out. And to be fair, starting the fight, let's talk about this. So we knew Benoit had staph infection, and I'm going to say that staph had something to do with it, but I'm not going to give staph infection the full blame for Benoit Saint-Denis' loss. I'm going to give the blame to Benoit Saint-Denis' loss. Fucking unbelievably atrocious striking defense against Dustin fucking Poirier. I knew this guy kept his hands by his waist sometimes, but I'd only ever seen him really do it when he had Moises up against the cage. And I'm like, this is Thiago Moises. I don't mind if he drops his hands now and again, especially if he's mixing in body shots as well. Your hands are naturally going to drop a little bit. So I was like, okay, his chin's a bit up in the air. But I think if he gets Poirier up against the cage, he'll double leg him, dunk him easily, and get the fucking takedown and get the submission. But his hands were so unbelievably low at range in the center of the octagon. He would throw a punch with his right hand, throw with his left hand, with his right hand by his fucking waist. And I thought he was going to beat Poirier by sub. Nearly did. Got the rear naked a few times, didn't quite finish it. Got the armbar at one point, couldn't quite finish it. Poirier adjusted. He showed good submission defense, tucking his chin and staying calm. He got beaten up on the feet really badly in round one as well. Let's face it, until Poirier landed that uppercut, this was fucking one-way traffic from Benoit Saint-Denis. So I see a lot of comments saying, how was Benoit the favorite? Blah, 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 blah. He was fucking dominating Poirier, but it's only a round. You know what I mean? So it's not that impressive of a domination. He just was really easily winning the fight. But you could see the tide turning. One thing I do not understand as to why Poirier does this, if he didn't pull guillotines in that fight, I really think he finishes it a bit earlier. Why are you pulling guillotines? They do not work in high-level MMA. Every time he pulls one, the commentary goes, oh, Poirier's got a nasty guillotine. I've never seen a fighter go for more guillotines than Poirier and fail them. He hasn't got a single guillotine win. And he tries them against every grappler he goes up against. He wobbled Benoit Saint-Denis in round one. I need a drink. Wobbled Benoit Saint-Denis in round one. In round two, with an uppercut. Stunned him. I'm like, oh my God, Poirier's about to fucking finish the fucking fight. Jumps a fucking guillotine again. What are you doing, you dumbass? Sorry. Great win from Poirier, but God, it was annoying to watch. I was like, oh my God, he's throwing away this fucking win. Meanwhile, I'm stressing because we literally broke the fucking viewership record on my channel and the whole fucking stream crashed. I think I would have peaked at about 18k live viewers tonight. Ended up peaking at about, I think the first stream I cancelled said 13.5 at one point before it fucking overloaded and crashed the fucking server. But yeah, Benoit Saint-Denis lost. Did he slow down because of staph infection? Yes. But were his fucking hands by his waist against Dustin Poirier at range? Yes. I wish I would have picked Poirier, but I did fall into the hype of we've never really seen lightweight prospects finish everybody and dominate everybody. And to be fair, I don't think it was a bad pick. I know people are going to roast Lucas Tracy for this, but I don't think it was a bad pick. He was out grappling Poirier, and in another world, he gets the rear naked choke. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. Tries to strike with Poirier with his hands by his fucking toes, and Poirier sleeps him in round two. Amazing work from Poirier. I don't think McGregor's going to fight Chandler. I reckon he might just fight Poirier. And that would be the funniest thing in MMA history if Chandler doesn't get that fight. So we'll see. We move on. Sean O'Malley versus Marlon Vera 2. Already made a full breakdown for this, but I'll go over it anyway. Sean O'Malley's the best striker to watch in the UFC, maybe of all time. I don't care about Anderson Silva. I care about Anderson Silva. There were moments where Anderson Silva would show off that he was the greatest fighter to watch of all time. But in the current UFC era, and eras before it, and maybe even including Anderson Silva, I don't find anyone as fun to watch as Sean O'Malley. He is so fucking good. I know I don't like him. I don't agree with the stuff that when he had his daughter on his lap and he's talking to Neon about foursomes with his wife that he lets other people have. There's life things I don't care about or I don't care for in Sean O'Malley's life. But there's going to be things like that with everyone's life. What I've started to realize is when I watch him fight, I don't fucking care. He's so good. Low kicks were great in the early rounds. He stopped doing them because he broke his foot. I've seen that now because I saw him in a splint on Instagram. Broke his foot. Still won without low kicks past round 2. Cracked Vera with a knee to the face. Shattered his face. Broke Vera's orbital and cheekbone, I'm going to guess, based on the look of Vera's face, who has shown no damage before this fight. O'Malley fucking embarrassed him for 5 straight rounds. Vera got a liver shot in round 5. Everyone's talking about, O'Malley saved by the bell, bullshit this, bullshit that. But Vera literally only landed that because O'Malley chose to trade with him. I rated O'Malley for this. You want to know why? After round 3, he very easily could have not chased a finish. After round 2, or like even halfway through round 3 when he knew he was up on strikes, he could have just played it safe and moved a bunch and given up a round or 2. He wanted to win every round. He wanted to get a finish. Body work, I didn't even talk about this in my full reaction to this fight. The way he was setting up his straight right hand to the body and just his rear right hook to the body in general, well, you don't see that. Vera tried to time him eventually with a left hook, but it was too slow. He would pepper Vera twice with a jab. Guard comes up, looping right hook to the body. Boom, right into the solar plexus of Vera. And you could see Vera was feeling it. He was feeling the spinning back kicks to the body. He was feeling the teeps and the front kicks to the body. He was feeling the low kicks from O'Malley early. He was feeling the punches for sure, especially in round 4/5. He got wobbled at one point and O'Malley started going for him. But amazing performance by O'Malley. I think he proved the first fight was a fluke. This is an unfinished business 1-1. There was a fucking Ecuadorian reporter asking if O'Malley's going to ever see Vera again to settle the score. Let's face it, man. I've been waiting to say this for 4 years. Vera's not on O'Malley's level. He's never been on O'Malley's level. O'Malley beats him 9 out of 10 times. Vera literally had a 1 in a... I know it's not matching up math-wise, but the way Vera won his 1 out of 10 times was a 1 in 1,000 chance of a perennial nerve kick. Why didn't he do that at any point in this 5-rounder? Because it's not a fucking move. It's a fluke. He fluked it against O'Malley. O'Malley was still schooling him in that first fight on one fucking leg, and it took him falling over for Vera to have any success. O'Malley is a better fighter than Vera by far. He embarrassed him over 5 rounds. He's one of the best strikers to watch in UFC history. I think he's the best technical striker in the UFC. Right now, I don't care about glory championships from Pereira. To watch, technique-wise, it's O'Malley and there's no second. O'Malley is great to watch. Amazing performance. He's going to fight Ilia Topuria next. And, yeah. Great win from O'Malley, dude. Wicked, wicked win. I feel bad for Vera. He got embarrassed badly. But I'm glad I was right on my pick. But one thing I want to end this with, they're not doing him versus Merab. They're going to do him versus Topuria in Spain. O'Malley broke his foot as well, so he's going to need time off. They're going to do Merab Sandhagen for an interim belt. It's all too perfect to do. Sean O'Malley won this fight against Marlon Vera being dumb. Maybe he broke his foot and that's why he stopped. But he stopped throwing low kicks. He stopped throwing body kicks. He started headhunting and he started chasing the finish. And he still beat up Marlon Vera for 25 minutes. Insane. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Toodle Pip. I'll see you later. And goodbye.